Hello, welcome to the webinar. Today I have a guest with me, as you can see. Don't have a lot of guests with me typically, so it's relatively rare. This is Amanda Ferris. She's the founder and CEO of something called Link Unite. And I was going to try to do an overview of, hey, here's what Link Unite is, but I think what I want to do is just dive into this and let Amanda do some of the talking here because here's essentially what we're talking about. It's like, hey, if you need a resource for fill in the blank, then this is the resource. This is the resource for other resources. Is that a fair enough way to start this off, Amanda?
I think that is a good, concise way to look at it. Yes, it's at a simplistic level. We are a resource network for anything and everything you would need for a business.
Yeah, so everything is a lot. So let's
Yes.
break it down into a couple of different major categories. There's going to be some lead gen stuff, there's going to be some legal stuff. What would you say are the top three or four categories?
I would say, considering the landscape of last year and the regulatory climate, a lot of what we focused on has been compliance and legality this year and making sure that companies are ready for the January 27th switch over to one compliance. So we do a lot of referrals around just making sure everybody's up to date on the regulatory side. And then from a lead gen standpoint, we really just focus on making sure that funnels are filled for those that are purchasing leads, but also for those that might want to improve their own lead funnel or their own, outreach. We will pair them with people who are experts in, let's say, media buying or building their own O&O sites. We really just try to ask the business or the person what it is they're looking to do. And we are a conglomerate of people with lots of skills. So we just try to, match here and there as we need to.
Okay, so I heard three things there. I heard legal and compliance is one. I heard if you're in the process of buying, let's call them aggregated leads for a general category, then you're going
Yes.
to help push those leads through or have resources at least, not that you're
Resources.
going to be doing it. And then
Yes.
also connecting people with resources to generate their own leads. So there's two marketing and then a legal and compliance, which is also kind of marketing. Are there other areas that are more sales or more operations or more financial?
Now, all of the above, we really take a hard focus on the artificial intelligence landscape as well. So we have brought in quite a few experts into the space that help smaller teams. So people who can't afford to have a large marketing team or a large marketing budget that a lot of these larger, companies do, will help them kind of come in and say, these are best practices. Here's how you build out certain things. So I would say, utilizing AI to be a bigger team than you are, to so to say, creating ads or whatever it might be, or choosing as an advisor role. We do a lot of that, trying to teach them how to use those tools to get ahead of the curve.
Okay, so let's focus in on the AI part. I mean, it's super t topical. I do want to touch on some of the other parts, the legality and compliance. I've talked about quite a bit on the podcast recently for obvious reasons.
Yes.
Um, the lead gen, I'm talking about that all the time. The AI is an interesting, it's such a broad term. It's like AI, and everybody's got a thing now that's AI.
Yeah.
A lot of AI things really just turn out to be automation things. They're not
Correct.
truly AI.
Yes.
Uh, but there are a lot of things that are truly AI. What would you say are the top two or three AI things that make sense for remodeling home services companies to really start to look at and then lean into?
Right. So it depends on the workflow, obviously, how they're taking in leads and things like that. But for instance, as an example, let's say recently we had someone who was generating inbound phone calls for solar and window installation, for instance, right, for that industry. For them, it was not having or not knowing where to direct a qualified call to. So they're using AI tools like Balto or some of these automated systems that will listen to a call, and then they create heat signatures around specific words that are mentioned and things like that. And they can actually direct those calls to the appropriate agent that starts to rank in their system as this person takes window calls better, or maybe this person takes roofing calls better, or whatever it might be, to increase that close rate on those calls. So again, it's kind of based on what they're using it for. And then we did a couple of sessions where I hopped on with people and just showed them how to use things like Midjourney or even Canva and Firefly, how to create ads. So how to create a prompt to generate an image that they can use that is now, free and clear, owned by them, right? Outside of the OpenAI landscape, some of these are free, so you can utilize that within your marketing collateral, and you didn't have to pay a graphic design artist for it, so to say. Those are the two most used use cases that we see right now.
What do you see happening? I'm asking you this question as if you are personally an AI expert. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know. Yes or no?
I would like to be, I would say, a very experienced aficionado, but I think anyone that calls themselves an expert in AI right now is lying because it's too new and it changes every week.
Well, you
So,
know, there's degrees of this. So
right.
you're in the space. So here's the
Yes.
question then is as we go down the next 2 to 5 years, I
Mhm.
mean, 5 years in the AI landscape is a massive chunk of time, but like, where's
Right.
this going for this industry? What is going to happen in terms of AI making things easier, quicker, faster, more effective, more customized, et cetera? I mean, we've talked about the heat signature auto
Mhm.
systems, graphic design. What else?
I think a lot of it's also going to come down to understanding, like, know your customer. I mean, we traditionally do that in a lot of ways of just doing surveys and polling traditionally on the marketing side. But I think that utilizing tools to run, I mean, these are really like analytics at the end of the day, but knowing how to prompt to ask a question like, what is my use case for my best customer? How do I reach out to them? And you're using AI as an advisory role. So I think teaching your workforce, and 1 in 5 of them will be more apt to use AI than the others, statistically speaking, right? So if you can find that person that can really hop on the front end of the AI bandwagon, I think that they can create a competitive edge in your business that you will have over others. Now, in 5 years, we might be at singularity standpoint. So I'm just, who knows where we'll be at that point.
So do you know who Daniel Priestley is?
Sounds really familiar.
I don't really know that much about him other than I heard him on a podcast recently. He was talking about AI. So look him up. He was on a podcast. Google it. You'll probably find him on a bunch of podcasts. Here's what he was saying about AI. He says if you go to the 1830 is when electricity was invented, but it took until 1930, so it was about 100 years until everybody had a bunch of appliances in their house that needed electricity.
Right.
So the thing was invented, but it was a long tail 100-year process to get to invent all the things that could use this amazing thing. And he says we're seeing a
Right.
similar thing with AI. Not that it's going to take 100 years; it certainly will not.
Yes.
However, according to this guy Daniel, and it sounded good to me, so I'm getting your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like we've kind of invented electricity, in this case AI. We've got a couple of use cases for it. It's like, oh, Chat GPT,
Yeah.
you know, Balto, whatever the case is.
Sora, any of them. Yeah. It can be a million different abilities with
Cyril,
it. Yeah.
structurally are some of the ones that
Mhm.
have been on this podcast before.
Right.
But it's just a matter of waiting for all of the applications to be invented. And then he went on to say, we're probably 5 years away from having 10-person billion-dollar companies.
I think that you have all of these AI apps and programs that are out in the ether. And much like cable went the way of this in any other industry, is you will start to consolidate these into more siloed spaces and they will become conglomerates. And you'll have like certain people that are over video, certain people that are over content, certain people that are over certain things like that. I don't think it's going to take as long for implementation. It's really finding the person who can think like AI. So I did a podcast on neurodivergence, even, and just people thinking differently, right? Outside of the box. If you can find people, if you can ask the question correctly, you can implement AI more effectively than other people. But again, it's that like 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 person that can kind of think how to use it constructively right now. It really is no roadmap to use it, but you can ask AI how to use it, right? But how do you ask the questions? How do you craft the question? Those people are going to become the leaders. And I think that they're going to propel it quicker as those learning models really start to scale. I think they're going to propel it quicker into the ethos. Then it's not going to take 100 years. I don't think it's that. If you've ever played with Sora and the video stuff, I mean, it's not like I can create a video of us talking and it's perfect and, I can spoof who you are and who I am. But I don't think we're that far off from it as it's continuing to learn from us as we play with it. Right. So
Yeah,
it's getting smarter by the day.
it's coming down the pipeline. Yeah,
Yes.
I've been in this industry now since about 2005, so right around 20 years. And here's the evolution that I've seen. For the first probably 12 to 15 years, and at the beginning of that was the financial crisis. But here's what
Right.
I saw. I saw a bunch of, I'll use the word guys because it's mostly guys in this
Yeah.
industry. There's some women out there.
There are some. Yeah.
But there's a bunch of guys that were just really hard workers that weren't very technology savvy, that didn't really think all that big, that were that were making, there's a bunch of guys that were making probably a couple $100,000 to several $100,000 per year. And then in about 2016, 17, 18, there was this massive shift. Here's what the shift was. The shift was private equity started coming into the sector and buying up companies. And as it was doing that, people started thinking to themselves, hey, if I'm going to build a company that private equity wants to buy, I have to build an actual freaking company.
Correct.
And so you started seeing this learning curve of a lot of people getting very business intelligent, taking technology and really running with it.
Mhm.
And you saw this, like if you go back on the top 500 list from say 2015, I'm making this up right now because I don't really know.
Yeah.
But like my good friend Brian Elias was always in the top 10 with 1-800 Hanson's out of Michigan because he was an early adopter of the
Right.
technology and all this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
He was doing like 80 million and he was probably like five on the list or so. If you're doing 80 million now, you're not even in the top 50.
No.
Okay, here's the point. There's been this massive sophisticationization.
I like that.
How's that for a
Trademark.
word?
Trademark on that one, but I like
Sophisticationization
that. Yeah.
within the industry. And there's like this, you hear about income inequality. There's like this
Yeah.
sophistication inequality in the industry,
Mhm.
and people are either getting up to speed or they're falling behind. I see that happening with AI.
That's exactly it, you articulated that much clearer than I could, even though we went around the trademark on the term for real. But that is kind of where we're
Yeah.
at.
Use
I
it,
think if
use
you're
it all
not
you want, but I want credit every time it comes out of your mouth.
absolutely 100% Rich gets credit, but I think that you nailed it on the head where it's if you don't get on the bandwagon now, much like the change in 2015, 2016, where it was tech stack like implementation and being on the curve of lead distribution and CRM, whatever it is that you were utilizing at the time, right? SaaS applications. Now, if you're not really playing into AI or at least figuring out how it's going to benefit or watching what your competitors are doing, you're going to get left in the dust. I mean, it's going to be the next change because it's not going anywhere. It's not going to be, and you're still going to have people to drive it. It's not going to take one job to one job. It just may automate certain components of an organization, but it still takes a pilot to drive the machine, right? So
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's figuring out how do I adapt my skills to keep myself relevant. Same thing with my business. How do I stay relevant in an ever changing landscape, right? That's going to be the tall tale. I think in the next like 5 to 10 years, we're going to see that be a big thing.
Okay, so here I am circling this conversation back to you over at Link Unite. Okay, because I've been in the, again 20 years now. I know these folks pretty darn well. And there's a very small percentage of people that are like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be awesome." And there's like this big group of people that are pretty smart. They've sort of got the tech stack thing going and they're like, I don't have any idea how to do this. So how can you help in this regard? So let's say I'm running like a $7 million window siding roofing company. I call you up. I'm like, hey, Amanda, I saw this podcast. What are you going to help me do?
Right. So it can be multifaceted. So first, I would say, do you have the ability? Do you attend? What conferences do you attend? Where will I find you in person? And I want you to attend either a workshop or a networking event or something that we have where I can in person in real time connect you with people for things that you're asking me for, whether that be tech related or advice or whatever it is. We have events all of the time. There are about 100 to 150 people on the back end of these conferences. We have a standalone event ourselves that's even bigger. The idea is really to get people in the flesh to have those conversations that are not 10 Zoom calls later and nothing's occurred.
Yeah, but
So
what if
we
I don't
spend a
even
lot.
know what I need?
If you
Like,
don't know what you need, I think the best part is getting a group of people in the literally in a room and just saying, what do you see? Like what is it that you want? And if you don't know what it is you want, what are your competitors doing? What makes it interesting to you? And what are you interested in as a person? So aside from business, what are you interested in? And then you tie back those aspects to the things that they're interested in. So AI, you don't have to know exactly how to use it, but you can ask AI how to use it, right? It comes down to simplicity. I think people
well,
overcomplicate. We try to
okay,
simplify.
okay, but here's the big
Yes.
but. But I don't even really know where to start. Okay, I'm putting myself in the shoes of again that seven. Look,
Yeah.
the dude's doing $7 million. He's not
It's
a
doing
dummy,
great. Yeah.
and he's also got he's got money, right? He's successful. But this is now a new territory. So here's what I'm hoping you can do, Amanda. I want to call you as that $7 million owner and go, hey, is there some kind of evaluation that you can do? Is there some kind of survey that I can fill out where you can help
Yes.
me pinpoint areas where maybe I need help that I'm not even aware of. I don't even know to call you and ask for help here because I don't know.
Right.
It's like, hey, Amanda, quick, get a piece of paper. I want you to make a
Right.
list of everything you're currently not
Yeah.
aware of. Go.
Yes. No, it's not going to happen like that. We do it much more organically. So I don't like to say in a box, this is what we do because it's really a bigger scope than that because we are a resource, network. The idea is really just to find people. I get on the phone with everyone and have a call. Tell me what it is that you're doing. Where do you see yourself? Even if you don't know what you want, just tell me what it is you do. And I start having a very organic conversation around here are the things that I have, here are the things that I see, and try to start seeing what strikes a chord with those people. Generally, you're going to find one or two topics that resonate, and then you kind of run with them and say, this is a great place to start. And you give them either the tools, the direct information, or the network that can help them look into that. That's what we try to do is really expand on the knowledge base.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question that you're
Yeah.
going to hate because
I,
I already know the answer is going to be, well, it really depends on the person
I
and the
know.
situation. Okay.
Mhm.
So I've already admitted that that's the
I
actual
like it.
answer.
I like the caveat.
Okay. So here's the question. Again, $7 million company, $4 million company. What are some of the areas that you would see in a typical situation that, from your perspective, are obvious holes in their strategy where you would say, hey, look, I know you called me about this, and here's a resource. Let me link you because I'm going to unite and link people because that's what
That's
Link Unite
exactly what we
does.
do. Yeah.
But hey, you really ought to look at this because based on what you've just told me, you would benefit from this more than anything else I can think of. What are some of those kinds of things that you see?
Right. So, I mean, obviously, I think the most fresh one, just relatively speaking, is the compliance arm. We've really spent a lot of time the last year making sure that everyone is not going to get dinged by the FCC. So, for a lot of my time lately has been spent on explaining to me what your workflow is and let me make sure that there's no holes in it from a compliance end. We spend a lot of time doing that. And I think that people, a $7 million company that may not have a compliance department or even know what I'm talking about when I say FTC, FCC regulation, TCPA stuff, if you get hit with one of those fines and you don't have 30, 40 grand sitting in your bank to back up, a couple of those complaints, it can really do a lot of damage to a company. So we spend a lot of time making sure that companies are protected. You can't just go, call a phone book and
Yeah,
and
well, hey, let me
and
let me
generate
put a
leads.
little note on this based on a
Mhm.
conversation I had just a few days ago on this exact topic. I think you'll agree with me on this. Who knows? I'll throw it out there and we'll see.
Yes.
Um, your biggest concern, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, is not that the SEC is going to come after you. It's that some jackass lawyer
Yes.
is going to come after you, and they're not
Correct.
going to be suing you for 30, $40,000. They're going to be suing you for
Yes.
6 to 7 figures because
Correct.
that's what lawyers do. That's how they
They
get
do.
paid.
Yes, and I think that the class action lawsuits that we're seeing going around right now that are scooped up some of these companies recently, they're starting to really see the writing on the wall and that it is a big problem. They don't care, and they have said that they do not care if you do, plausible deniability is not, they don't care,
Yeah.
they're going to come after you. And those individuals, they make a career out of, you called them the wrong day at the wrong time, they screenshot that, they are going after you. They wait for those calls to come in, you know what I mean? They might even create a fake account, a Google number to have that
Yeah.
call come in. They do that. Right. So they're actively looking for holes in your business. Whether or not you think that there's people online looking for that stuff, they do exist and they are there. And I've seen it firsthand
It's
many
like, yeah,
times.
we're having this conversation. I'm not sure when this goes live, but we're having this conversation the day after the inauguration. And it
Right,
was
right.
kind of hilarious because Trump signed the declaration for Doge, Department of
Yes.
Government Efficiency,
Efficiency.
and
Yep.
literally within 10 minutes, the first lawsuits came in against it.
Correct. Yes.
Like these people
And
were just waiting for the order so that they could sue him. And I see that these attorneys are going to be like that. They're like, okay,
sharks.
the 27th,
Yep.
it's,
They're
what,
waiting. 6
6 days,
days.
5 days, four, let the lawsuits fly.
Let the lawsuits fly. And they are waiting. They're waiting and they are prepared and they know what they're doing. They know exactly who they're going after. If you think that they're just like starting on 27th, you're mistaken. You know what I
Okay,
mean? These are
so
people who have made this a process for years now. They just
so
have
tell me how
of
this
it.
works with Link Unite. So I'm this $7 million guy again.
Yeah.
He's going to be our avatar, okay? And I'm hearing this conversation and I'm saying, yeah, I'm aware of this and I
Mhm.
think we've got it covered, but I don't really know. So if I call you, first of all, is calling you the best way to handle this, or is there a better
I'm
way to
always
do it?
around. So I tell people, I'm like, you can literally Skype because that's a thing in our
Okay,
industry, right? You
so
can
get in
Skype,
touch with
LinkedIn.
you, literally you, Amanda.
Amanda and Sarah is also my partner in this, and we have, quite other anybody in the network on our advisory board, anyone in our network is happy to talk about things like this that protect
Okay.
the industry and protect the business.
Okay. But I'm talking about the guy that was literally listening to this
Yes,
podcast and says, okay, I'm ready to do something.
7 mil
So,
man can call me tomorrow if you
okay.
needed
So
to.
we'll get your contact information. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll actually have you give it in a minute. But
Absolutely. Yep.
I want to get to the question, which is this.
Mhm.
Okay, I call you up and I go, hey, I heard you about talking about compliance. Perhaps I have some issues that I'm concerned about, lead gen or tech stack, whatever. But let's say compliance for our conversation.
Right.
How does that work? Do you take me through some kind of an evaluation process over the phone? Do I need to pay you to get the process started? Do you make money by referring me to somebody that can actually help me with the problem? How does it work?
So essentially, and I'm just going to take 2 steps back real quick. Link Unite has always been this altruistic network. The idea is just really we're better together, and collective knowledge, it just really promotes all of us and kind of ushers us into the next level. So if someone calls me and says, hey, I have an issue, which I get these calls all the time, especially as we get closer to this date right now, because I used to sit on the board of several different organizations that were working with DC on this compliance side. I will literally say, tell me exactly what it is you're doing. I mean, from top to bottom, top of funnel to the sales rep, what are you doing? Tell me everything. And then according to what they're doing with that workflow, we have a resource, a network of lawyers, literally law firms, things like that, that specialize state by state, what it might be that you need TCPA, or if you're more concerned about the one-to-one stuff, whatever it is, we will connect them with those people. Generally, they, will go off and become the lawyer of record, for that person. We don't make referrals on that. The way that we make money is all through partnership initiatives. So we have companies that sponsor us. As an organization, they have their women in our organization, they have men that join our conferences, whatever it might be. We really just try to bring the brightest minds together to do that. But generally speaking, I'm going to have a conversation with them, and then I'm going to usher them out to the people that they need to be in contact with. Now, what they do on that end, that's up to them, right? But that's the idea of the network: is we have the resources. It's just we don't make money on it. We make money on the partnership side. We try to connect people because you guys can make money together and keep each other protected. That's
Okay.
what we do.
Okay, so do people tell you that you talk fast very
Oh,
often?
absolutely. I'm from Atlanta. I know most people think I'm from New York. I talk so fast.
Okay,
Yeah.
I actually like people that talk fast. I prefer a conversation where people are talking fast. So
Me too.
this has been really great. Here's here's where I want to go with this. I'm drawing a global conclusion here. You ready for it?
I love it. Let's do this.
You know, in the old days when there was actual telephones, not just smartphones
I
or
still
cell
three-way call
phones.
people. Yeah, yeah. My
I'm
rotary
talking
phone.
about like the thing that sat on your desk, or
Yeah,
when I'm old enough that it was like hanging on the wall in the kitchen.
the rotary phone. We had that growing up still.
Yeah,
Which
so there was this
cool.
phone there. Like, here's what all of this is built up to this. You're like the red phone sitting on the desk that, in case of emergency, pick this up. You don't even have to dial it because it just auto dials
Goes
straight
right
into
there.
you.
It's got the drawer that's locked and it slides out on the desk and you pick it up.
Yeah. So, is that a mischaracterization or is that accurate? It's like, hey, if you're a business owner and you've got questions, concerns, issues, opportunities that you're not quite sure how to seize on,
Yeah,
pick up the phone, call Link Unite, get Amanda. I mean, send an email, whatever,
yeah, whatever.
however.
Smoke signal. We'll figure it out.
Red phone,
Yeah.
legal compliance, lead gen number two. One was with what am
More
I trying to
affiliate
say
network
here?
stuff. Yeah, more
Yeah, yeah,
affiliate.
yeah, yeah.
If you're doing network stuff, or if you're doing O&O and you're
Yeah.
generating your own leads, completely
AI
different.
questions,
Mhm.
like just pick up the phone and call, and then you're gonna connect. So like you're like the nosy Karen of the neighborhood that knows everybody's business, which is kind of annoying. Not you, but Karen. But
Yeah.
if you need to know something, you go ask.
You need to know, except I don't run my mouth. That's the crazy, like, that's the difference between me and Karen is especially because I hear a lot of specifics about workflows, I do make it very clear that I don't ever share your workflow with anyone else. The idea is really if there's a
I
component to something you need help
Okay.
with, I will share
I
that
need
with
to
someone.
apologize. I didn't mean to put you in the category of a Karen. Just
I have
saying
to
that you're
caveat
like
that though,
that.
because I want people to know we don't do
You're like that
that.
singular person that just knows everybody and everything, is basically what I'm
I
trying to say.
I like to go to shows and I like to be around people and I like to hold court. That's what everyone says I'm doing is holding court. I just like to talk to people. I like to know what they're doing, staying on the forefront of new business ideas, staying on the forefront of technology. I come from a SaaS background. I worked for Sherwin-Williams for years, so I had that contractor background. And so the idea is really just if you're not talking to people, it's also part of like you're not growing. And so for me, I just like to be in the middle but like glue. I just want, oh, I hear this great idea. Rich, you're telling me you're looking for something. I know this person over there that can really help you. Maybe it works,
Great.
maybe it doesn't, but you should really talk to them. And then I just kind of have you met Ted and I walk away. You know what I
All right.
mean? And
Let's
let
role
them
play
do
this
it.
for just a second. Okay.
Mhm.
I got my red phone here. Hey, I'm being sued by a customer who says that we sold an elderly customer and we did it in a disingenuous way. I
Right.
need some help. Is that a
Law
good call to make
firms.
to you?
Yes, I'm going to put you in touch with
Great,
people who are going to explain to you exactly what you did wrong and how to fix it and how to make sure you don't get sued.
great. Hey, I've heard something about automated sales coaching with AI. Can you help me figure that out?
Absolutely. If I can't directly do it, I have, because we do that. We have other organizations that can give you a class or specific to your company and come in and actually teach you how to do that.
Great. Hey, I need more leads, and I don't know what to do. Can you help me?
Definitely can help you with that.
Okay. Hey, I need a new website. Do you have somebody that can do that for me?
Yes, engineer the back end, the front end, the UI can help you with the servers, all of it. Yep.
Is that level 10 contractor?
Potentially, yeah. You want an app? We can help you develop an app. We've got engineers. It's whatever you need. We have a conglomerate that can help you in some facet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And if we don't have it, I'll find it for you.
What's the actual phone number?
My phone number is area code 678-656-3478. And that is my cell phone number. I actually do give that out.
All right. I will put that in the show notes 678-656-3478. And the email
Correct.
is
Amanda at linkunite, linkunite.live, Live.
linkunitelive.com.
Linkunite.live, just dot
Dot
live.
live. Dot
Mhm.
live. Okay. Link Unite, Amanda at Link Unite Live. Okay. I think everybody listening to this podcast could use this kind of a resource. The person who knows everything about everything and about everything. And I'm assuming that if you get stumped and there's something that's not really in your warehouse, you just tell them, hey, I don't really know about that.
I don't know where I find it. Generally speaking, I mean, through LinkedIn, as I think we all live on LinkedIn at this point, at least in my side of the industry, we do. If I don't have it, I can find it amongst one of my 20,000, or
Yeah.
so people, and we will
Great.
definitely make
So
a
you're
connection.
you're the concierge.
I am the concierge. Yeah, you come find me. I'll help you with it for
All
sure.
right. That sounds better than the Karen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, let's do that one instead. I like that.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody, if you've got something you need, we have the concierge here, Amanda at linkunite.live, 678-656-3478. If you end up calling her or emailing her, do me a favor. Shoot me an email on the back end and let me know how it went. I'd love to report and I'd like to get some case studies. And I would love to have you back on again on the podcast in the future. It's been a pleasure
Absolutely.
having you, Amanda.
Would love to be back, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next time.
Sounds good.